Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mike's Untitled Review Series. Today we're going to talk about a Criterion haul that I picked up. Uh, One of them I've already owned, the rest are brand new to me. There are, I believe, there are 3 DVDs and 3 Blu-rays. We'll start with the DVD that I already owned, which is Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai 3-disc DVD set. Absolutely beautiful. There's the front, there's the back, there's the side. When you open it up, first thing you notice is this great book, about 56 pages, essays, pictures, really nice. Take it out, and we see a scene from the movie. There are your 3 discs and scene list. Now, disc 1 is the film part 1, disc 2 is the film part 2, and disc 3 are your special features or the supplements. A quick rundown. The movie was made in 1954. It is 207 minutes, black and white, in mono. It's in Japanese with optional English subtitles, and it's presented in a 1:33:1 aspect ratio. This is an absolutely classic movie, a must-have, probably the best samurai movie ever made. The Magnificent Seven was I was going to say rip-off, but really more of an homage. And many movies have been made influenced by Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. Let's see. I'll list some of this. I'll list the special features. Disc 1 is the film part 1. It's an all-new restored high-def digital transfer. It's got an optional Dolby soundtrack. There are two audio commentaries. One by film scholars David Desser, Joan Mellon, Stephen Prince, Tony Rain, and Donald Ritchie. And there's another one by Michael Jack, who is a Japanese film historian, who I have actually heard of, and he is very knowledgeable and very interesting. I've listened to both of these commentaries in the past, and they are chock full of very good information. The presentation of the commentaries is a little dry, but if you're into this stuff, the commentaries are great. Theatrical trailers and teasers, and new and improved English subtitle translations, which is important because in a lot of the older ones, I don't speak Japanese, but a friend of mine, an ex-girlfriend of mine actually spoke Japanese, and I watched this film once with her with an older DVD of this, and she pointed out the many mistakes. So this is a new and improved translation. Disc 2 is part 2 of the film. Again, all new restored high-def digital transfer. Optional Dolby Digital Surround. And on this one, there is a 50-minute documentary. Again, you guys know, if you're watching my videos, you know I love special features. A 50-minute documentary on the making of the Seven Samurai, which was created as part of the Toho Masterworks series. Akira Kurosawa, it is wonderful to create. Very good documentary. And Disc 3, the supplements. Let's read those to you. Oops, sorry. Camera problems. I'm still working out the technical issues on these videos, and I promise you they will get better. I'm filming these on my Kindle, and I promise you by the time I get to the 5th or 10th video, they will look better. But for now, I'm just doing them for fun. So I hope you enjoy them, and if you don't, well, really, I'm just doing them for myself. And they're practice, so, Anyway, going on, Disc 3 of Seven Samurai. My Life in Cinema, a 2 hour video conversation between Kurosawa and another guy. Can't pronounce his name, sorry, but it's his last name is Oshima, from 1993, produced by the Directors Guild of Japan. Now, obviously, it's in Japanese, but it's subtitled and very, very good. Seven Samurai Origins and Influences, a new documentary looking at the samurai traditions and films that impacted Kurosawa's masterpiece. So, you get a lot in this set, and plus the booklet. The booklet features essays by some noted people, tributes from Arthur Penn and Sidney Lumet, and a reminiscence by Toshiro Mifune, who anyone who knows Kurosawa's films knows that he was Kurosawa's De Niro. He was Kurosawa's main actor, the way De Niro was, Scorsese's main actor in the 70s. This is a great set, and this is the one that I already owned. Now, moving on, the other two DVDs that I purchased are Rashomon and The Hidden Fortress. Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon, the Criterion Collection. Again, we get a really nice booklet with all kinds of essays and information. The way this is described, and there's a picture of the disc. Now, this is interesting as it's not a samurai film as such. The description, very briefly: brimming with action while incisively examining the nature of truth, Rashomon is perhaps the finest film ever to investigate the philosophy of justice. Through an ingenious use of camera and flashbacks, Kurosawa reveals the complexities of human nature as four different people recount four different versions of the story of a man's murder and the rape of his wife. Toshiro Mifune gives another and a commanding performance in the eloquent masterwork that revolutionized film language and introduced Japanese cinema to the world. Now, this is a little bit different than his other samurai films, but it is really great. The special features on here: we have a high-definition digital transfer with restored image and sound. Again, it's in Japanese with optional English subtitles, obviously. The original 1:33:1 aspect ratio. It is 88 minutes and from 1950, and obviously in black and white, so a lot shorter than The Seven Samurai. There's a commentary by Donald Ritchie, Japanese film historian, a video introduction by Robert Altman, which I think is interesting. I admire the works of Altman, not one of my favorite directors, but I do admire and respect his works. Excerpts from The World of Kazuo Miyagawa, a documentary film about Rashomon's cinematographer. Reprints of the Rashomon source stories. In a Grove and Rashomon. There are a couple stories that were the sources Kurosawa used to come up with Rashomon. So we have excerpts, reprints rather, of those source stories in the booklet. Actually, I'm not sure if they're in the booklet or on the disc, but either way, they're there. Akira Kurosawa on Rashomon, a reprinted excerpt from his book Something Like an Autobiography. Optional English dubbed soundtrack, so not only can you watch it in Japanese with the English subtitles, you can listen to it in dubbed English. I personally prefer listening to the original Japanese and reading the subtitles, but some people don't like to read when they watch movies, so that's a bonus for you. Theatrical trailer, new and improved English subtitle translation, and I've already spoken about that. and optimal image quality RSDL dual layer edition. So, Rashomon. And the third DVD that I picked up, or the third DVD, The Hidden Fortress. Any self-respecting Star Wars fan knows the influence this had on George Lucas and the original Star Wars, which is now known as Episode 4, A New Hope. Star Wars to us. The brief description on the back: a general and a princess must dodge, maybe this sounds familiar. A general and a princess must dodge enemy clans while smuggling the royal treasure out of hostile territory with two bumbling, conniving peasants, R2-D2 and C-3PO, at their sides. It's a spirited adventure that only Akira Kurosawa could create. So, let's open it up, and here's what it looks like on the inside. Now, unfortunately, it's a nice disc art. Here's the booklet you get. It's nowhere near as extensive as the other two I just showed you. It's more of a 3-page, 6-page if you count both sides, fold out, with general information about the film. The headline is best known as the major influence on George Lucas's Star Wars. Akira Kurosawa's 1958 The Hidden Fortress deserves recognition as a definitive cultural expression of Japan's master filmmaker. After the international success of Rashomon, 1952, and The Seven Samurai, 1955, Kurosawa abandoned his early interest in modern set pictures and concentrated on period set pictures. And it goes on. This was written by Armand Wright, a film reviewer. This movie is very important. Not to everyone, but to fans of Kurosawa and to fans of Star Wars. Special features are a little more sparse on this one. Let's check them out. We have a new 16:9 transfer with digitally restored image and sound. And even on DVD, I'd love to get the Blu-rays of these, but even on, I got the two Rashomon. I got these two used at very good prices, so couldn't pass them up. There's a video interview with George Lucas about Kurosawa. That tells you something right there about the Star Wars Hidden Fortress connection. Optional Dolby Digital 3.0 surround track, preserving the original Perspecta sound simulated effects. We have the original theatrical trailer, new and improved English subtitle translations. Again, they went through and improved the translations. And optimal image quality, again with the RSDL dual layer edition. This was presented in a 235:1 aspect ratio in Japanese with optional English subtitles. 1958, 139 minutes. So we have about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, great film. So, those are the three Kurosawas. Now we move to England and Blu-ray territory with a film by Peter Brook, Lord of the Flies. Great Blu-ray. Sorry about, let's see. Can't really tell. But another beautiful book here. Lord of the Flies. Chapters, cast and credits: Trouble in Paradise by Jeffrey McNabb, Peter Brook on the making of Lord of the Flies, and about the transfer. Really Really nice stuff in here. Quickly, I know this is running long, so a quick rundown. 1963, 90 minutes, black and white, a 1 to 37 to 1 aspect ratio. It's a little different there. Okay, Blu-ray Special Edition features a new restored 4K digital film transfer, audio commentary featuring director Peter Brook, producer Lewis Allen, director of photography Tim Hollyman, which, again, these are brand new. I haven't listened to the commentaries yet, obviously. Audio recordings of William Golding reading from his novel Lord of the Flies, accompanied by corresponding scenes from the film. That sounds very cool. Deleted scene with optional commentary and Golding reading. There is an interview with Brooke from 2008, the director. A collection of behind-the-scenes material, including home movies, screen tests, outtakes, and stills. There is an excerpt from a 1980 episode of The South Banks Show featuring Golding. The South Banks Show, I'm a little bit of an Anglophile, so I am aware of the South Banks Show, which was really a chat show in England, in the UK. Comparable, just basically, a talk show, but a good one. And I've seen a lot of clips. You can check out the South Banks Show on YouTube probably and find a lot of good interviews with a lot of interesting people. There's a new interview with File, the cameraman Gerald File, who I forgot to mention is also on the audio commentary. There's an excerpt from File's 1975 documentary The Empty Space, showcasing Brooks' theater methods. Living Lord of the Flies, a piece composed of never-before-seen footage shot by the actor during production, with new voiceover by actor Tom Gaiman, and a trailer plus the booklet featuring an essay by film critic Jeffrey McNabb, and an excerpt from Brooks' autobiography, The Shifting Point. So another great Criterion Collection, Lord of the Flies. Again, I'm not going to give you a big synopsis of this movie. If you're a fan, you already know what the movie's about, if you've read the book. And if you're not, I recommend you check it out. My personal recollections, briefly, of this film, I haven't seen it probably for 3 or 4 years. But it's a great story, and a lot of people... I'm in my late 30s. I was born in 1977. And a lot of people my age see something from 1960 and say, 63, sorry. A lot of people my age see something from 1963 and say, oh, black and white, that's old, who the hell cares? But just because something's a little bit older doesn't mean it doesn't have anything to offer. And this is a great, great story. Boys trapped on an island. Who's going to take leadership? Who's going to be in charge? What's going to happen to the weaker kids? There's been a lot of movies like that. There's been a lot of stories like that. There's been some before and a whole hell of a lot after. And this is really an examination into humanity. So, I love this one. Number 5 out of 6 is a Marlon Brando favorite of mine, an Elia Kazan movie, On the Waterfront, on Blu-ray. Another beautiful Criterion movie. Not Criterion, Criterion Blu-ray. Okay, we open it up. This is what we get. 2 discs. Oops, book falls right out. But there are your 2 discs. We take the discs out, and, well, nothing really there. But still, excuse me, but yeah, that's what you get. Another beautiful book. And this one is really rather thick. trying to see. Yeah, it's about 45 pages. Great stuff. Great stuff. And I know you can't see this really clearly, but you can see the print isn't gigantic. And so there's some good reading in here. You know, it won't take you hours and hours to read, but it'll take you a good hour to read this. And so it's always good to get bonuses like that. Okay, real fast. 1954, 108 minutes, black and white, mono, 166:1 aspect ratio. Okay, the features. Disc 1, a new 4K digital restoration with an uncompressed monaural soundtrack. There is an alternate 5.1 surround soundtrack presented in DTS HD master audio. The audio commentary is by authors Richard Schnickel and Jeff Young, film historians, I imagine. There's a new conversation between filmmaker Martin Scorsese and critic Kent Jones. Now I'll do some videos in the future about Martin Scorsese, another one of my favorite directors. So to hear him talk about this movie is great, and I can't wait to watch that. There is Elia Kazan, An Outsider, from 1982, an hour-long documentary. So already we're into hours of features. There's a new documentary on the making of the film featuring interviews with scholar Leo Braudy, critic David Thompson, and others. So there's another documentary for you. There's a 2001 interview with Elia Kazan, the director. Contender, Mastering the Method, another documentary, this one from 2001. It's on the film's most famous scene, which I believe I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to, but I imagine I could have been a contender. I guess that's what they're talking about. I should watch these movies before I do these, but what the hell, I just bought them. It's more of a haul. New interviews with longshoreman Thomas Hanley, an actor in the film. New interview with author James T. Fisher about the real-life people and places behind the film. And a visual essay on Leonard Bernstein's score, a visual essay on the aspect ratio, and the theatrical trailer. So, Disc 2. There is an alternate presentation of the restoration of 2 additional aspect ratios. There's a 185:1 widescreen and a 133:1 full frame. So that's your second disc. Plus a booklet featuring an essay by, well, we've already talked about the booklet, but the one thing that is interesting, especially interesting in the booklet, is Kazan's 1952 defense of his House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, testimony. One of the 1948 Malcolm Johnson articles that inspired the film, and a 1953 piece by screenwriter Bud Schulberg. This movie is great. On the waterfront, it's a look at longshoremen. Marlon Brando plays a great part, and again, I won't go into the plot other than to say that what they say, he gives the performance of his career as the tough prize fighter turned longshoreman Terry Malloy in this masterpiece of urban poetry. Blah, blah, blah. So, but Lee J. Cobb, Rod Steiger, how can you go wrong? Another great movie. Last but not least, Harold and Maude. A lot of people don't like this movie. A lot of people do. I love it. I first got turned on to it because I am a huge fan of Cat Stevens. Not Yusuf Islam, Cat Stevens. He can be what he wants to be, but to me, he'll always be Cat Stevens. That's how I first got turned on to this movie. Just enjoying Cat Stevens' music and finding out that he did the soundtrack. But knowing that I watched the movie and fell in love with it. I was probably 15 or 16 when I first rented this from Blockbuster on a crummy VHS. And I have fallen in love with it, and I have seen this movie so many times since that I cannot count. This is a 1971 movie presented in a 185 to 1 aspect ratio. Take a quick look inside. There we have the Harold and Maude Blu-ray. Another great Criterion Collection book. This one coming in at about 40 pages. Good stuff, good stuff. New digital restoration with uncompressed mono soundtrack. Optional remastered uncompressed stereo soundtrack. There's a new audio commentary by Hal Ashby, biographer Nick Dawson, and producer Charles B. Mulvihill. Hal Ashby, of course, is the director, so his biographer and the producer do the commentary. Illustrated audio excerpts from seminars by Ashby and writer-producer Colin Higgins. There's a new interview with songwriter, and the way they put it is Yusuf/Cat Stevens. I couldn't resist. I did pop that in and watch it because I'm a huge Cat Stevens fan, and I really enjoyed listening to Cat Stevens talk about his contributions to this movie. Plus the booklet. And the booklet features an essay by film critic Matt Zoller, cites a 1971 New York Times profile of star Ruth Gordon, and 2 excerpted interviews, one from 1997 with star Bud Cort and cinematographer John Alonzo, and one from 2001 with executive producer Mildred Lewis. This movie is a great, great love story. Really offbeat, really off the wall. A lot of people get turned off by the fact that a young guy like Bud Cort would fall in love with a rather older woman who in the movie is just about to turn 80, I believe, Ruth Gordon. And I almost said Ruth Buzzy. That would be a little different. But yeah, Bud Cort and Ruth Gordon play great parts in this. And this movie means a lot to me. The final song, Trouble. Trouble, trouble, won't you set me free? I have seen your face, and it's too much for me. I've loved that song since I was in high school. A lot of Cat Stevens music made a huge difference in my life, and seeing this movie and knowing that songs like Trouble and Miles from Nowhere are on this song, or songs like that are on this movie, make it all the more special. Some people find it too morbid. It's a bit of maybe it is, but it's a black comedy, I guess. I find it really enjoyable. And maybe someday I'll come back and do a review of this. So we're reaching the half-hour mark, which means it's time to wrap up. But just to show you the Criterion Collection haul, 3 Blu-rays and 3 DVDs. There you go. So, I recommend all 6 of these movies. Quick recap. Oh, backwards. 7 Samurai, Akira Kurosawa. Rashomon, Akira Kurosawa. Hidden Fortress, Akira Kurosawa. Lord of the Flies, William Golding. Or, sorry, Peter Brooks, the director. William Golding wrote the book. Elia Kazan, On the Waterfront, and Hal Ashby, Harold and Maude. Check these movies out. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. If you don't, that's okay too. But I hope you enjoy, and take it easy.